Bishop all, and he's at 1 and I'm at 2, and a lot of people are very far behind.
Well, you know, he's right about that. Say what you will of Donald Trump and separate, if you can, the messenger from his message. But I told you in the beginning when he entered the race, you can laugh all you want. Right now, he is resonating in the polls because a lot of people, when it comes to things like what he says on China, get shafted on trade and how we're being taken advantage of, all the stuff you know quite well from Donald Trump. Well, it is resonating. In fact, these non-traditional candidates are resonating. I want you to take a look at an Iowa poll that was done. Ignore the fact that Scott Walker is in the lead, touche to him, even though his share of the vote seems to have come down in every single poll we say. But nevertheless, he is doing quite well. But focus on Donald Trump and Ben Carson, two guys with no elective office experience, right? Now, they're about close to a fourth of that vote, those two alone, close to a quarter of that vote from non-traditional candidates. Things can change, but Vince Coglianese says, you know, that tells you all you need to know about where the sentiment of voters is at this time. It's still early, Vince, to your point, but what are we to make of that?
We're to make that voters appreciate candor. They don't like political correctness. And all of these other guys who are practiced politicians have many years of experience of shaping their answers, coming up with some nuance, trying to figure out a way not to tick off a bunch of people at the same time. Whereas you got guys like Ben Carson, who, by the way, makes his political debut splashing, you know, President Obama to his face about Obamacare. And then you got a guy like Donald Trump, who is the most politically incorrect guy in the race. And they're all saying, you know, pretty politically incorrect things. They're being very plain-spoken, and voters like that. That's refreshing when you hear a candidate who's not going to try and sort of hide their opinion in order to satisfy everybody.
You know, the argument against either of these gentlemen making it, and they're very, very different, let's face it, is that people always sort of play around with the thought, yeah, that's kind of cool, or this guy's kind of cool, or let's go outside the political petri dish. But then either something implodes, or the candidate implodes, or they get second thoughts, or they go back to their comfortable date. And I'm wondering if that's kind of what happened to Herman Cain in the past. That's what happened to Ross Perot. You know, outside-the-box candidates who ended up getting, you know, kicked outside. What do you think?
Right. I think the assets of being a candidate who's plain-spoken is also the liability, right? So these guys, it's pretty certain that at some point either Donald Trump's past of supporting Democrats pretty widely or his future of saying something that sort of ticks off the Republicans he's actually going after is probably going to be his downfall, just his willingness to be so brash and such a loudmouth. And I think that will come back to bite him at some point. By the way, if this is all a publicity stunt, as has been rumored every time Trump tries to run for president, it's not going very well because he's losing all of these various...
I don't buy that. I've covered this guy for decades, and say what you will of the guy. I mean, yes, he's a great marketer and all that stuff, but he is risking great financial pain to himself.
Definitely.
Macy's the latest to say, you're out of here, you're fired.
Losing these contracts.
NBC, right, losing contracts. So these are great revenue makers for Donald Trump. But I will also say this, even in light of the Macy's firing, his poll numbers get better. His attraction gets better. And I often think it's like when people sort of jive Fox on the comedy shows like Jon Stewart or have you, it actually makes people say, gee, I should check those guys out, or I should check this guy out. You know?
What could be better for Donald Trump than NBC deciding it doesn't want a relationship with him because of his politics? I mean, among Republican primary voters, they're going to look at that and go, heck yeah, man, I don't like what NBC's politics are.
Oh, that's very good. I didn't even think of that. Good thinking, Vince. Good seeing you again. I hope you have a happy and safe 4th.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
All right. In the meantime, we're just getting word now that Iran has continued to comply with terms of an interim nuclear deal reached with world powers. This is the reason why they're justifying extending this deal that's been given a few more days